Biohazard warning. Entering contaminated zone. Transmissions jammed. Proximity coverage only. Backup activated. System rebooted.
What's going on, agents and gamers out there in the nation? Your boy Sly here, and it is Information Overload. If you missed the special report Twitch broadcast, I uploaded it onto my channel. Go ahead and check it out. It's unedited in HD and definitely worth a watch. But I will be going over the juiciest parts of the broadcast, and I plan on creating a few separate videos going into detail about gear sets later on in the week. Now, there were some great things to be said about the special report, but one thorn is in my side, and I have to mention it, but I'll get to that when the time comes. Alright, so where do we even start, guys? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the PvE invigoration that we were promised. So, the Division is obviously a massive game with a highly detailed, lifelike environment. Problem is that once you reach the end game, 80% of this enormous city gets left behind. Weak enemies, very weak loot, and nothing else to really catch your interest. Well, we heard about the new high-value target missions coming to the conflict update, but now we finally have a better idea about what to expect. So, just like in the story missions, each area within New York City has a safe house, each with their own side missions, and since this is considered endgame content, you will have to clear out all of the side missions within each of the New York City's boroughs. Once you do that, the side mission board will open back up with the new missions. Killing all of the former bosses within these areas has created a power vacuum, and new contenders are stepping in. Within each area, you must eliminate enemies and rack up tokens. Now, these new side missions are called Search and Destroy. Just as a reminder, in order for these to appear, you have to have finished all of the side missions within each of these boroughs. These Search and Destroy missions will not be there if you haven't completed them all. Now, these missions are meant to serve as a halfway point to endgame content, and they're leveled towards freshly level 30 agents. So the combat will seem a bit weak for us veteran players, however they are an essential part to complete these next missions called high value targets. So once you clear an area of all the side missions, Search and Destroy missions will open up. Once you clear those missions, you head back to the safe house where you started and you claim your final reward, where you may remember opening a locker at the end of the side missions. This is kind of similar to that. You go back to the board and you get double the tokens. Now once you have completed enough Search and Destroy missions, you can use these tokens to buy high value target contracts. So, as you can see by this screenshot, the new NPCs in the base of operations will serve as your intel point. The one on the left will show you your daily contracts as well as the rewards, and then on the right you have the NPC that shows your weekly contracts, and these targets are beast. The more difficult targets will reward you with some of the best loot in the game, 204 weapons and 240 gear score items, but remember, if you fail, it's over. You have to repurchase the encounter, and you do that by accruing more tokens. All of these events are timed as well, so keep that in mind. But on top of earning high scored gear, exclusive weapon skins, and vanity items, you're also going to get some Phoenix credits. This was really aimed at getting more agents out of the Dark Zone and back into this huge cityscape that was created. On top of that, rewarding you for difficult encounters, and it will be equal to that found within the Dark Zone. This is another option for agents who aren't always down for the PvP experience. So next up we have gear sets. Now this is an interesting road when it comes to gear sets, and I'll tell you all what my thoughts are about it, but first let's dive into the specific talents and bonuses. So first up, let's check out the 4 new gear sets, and we're going to start with a final measure. As you can see here, at 2 pieces you unlock 50% exotic damage resilience, and then at 3 you get 15% protection from elites, and then the talent, of course, is final measure. When damaging a hostile with a grenade, gain the diffuse buff. When in range of a hostile grenade, the buff is consumed and defuses the grenade, as well as gives you an extra grenade. This is a very much situational type of gear set, but nonetheless very effective. Basically, this would be worn by an agent grenadier. You have to damage an enemy with a grenade. When you do that, you will get a buff that will let you defuse any explosive once you stand in it. This goes for grenades, missiles, sticky bombs, whatever. Even the APC's rockets from the incursion will defuse. The trick is you have to be standing in the area of effect, which is the red indicating circle around whatever explosive you're near. Once you're inside of that, the explosion will not go off, and the buff will then be consumed consumed, and to gain it again, you'd have to throw another grenade to damage an enemy, and then the circle starts over again. Different, I know, but I can see it being very useful. Next, we have Hunter's Faith. Set bonus of 2 gains you 20% marksman rifle critical hit damage. 3 pieces gets you 20% damage to elites, and then out of 4 set pieces, you earn Hunter's Faith talent. Hitting an enemy with a bullet grants you temporary armor. The further your shot, the more armor. The armor will disappear after 1 bullet hits you. Now, this is made for high damage snipe battles. It's there to give you an extra layer of protection from those hard-hitting level 34 snipers. Basically, you get a shield that soaks up damage for every bullet you land, but it does not stack. Once a bullet hits you, the shield soaks up the damage and ends up breaking. You will need to shoot again to get the shield back, but keeping this shield on you will allow you an edge if you're dueling it out with other snipers. Once again, very situational, but very effective. Next, we have my favorite 2 pieces out of the 4, and the first one is called Lone Star. Set bonus for 2 pieces, 100% ammo capacity. 3 set items get you 1,000 extra damage for LMGs or 1,000 extra damage for shotguns. Finally, the talent Lone Star is opened up when you have 4 pieces and automatically reloads any weapon while it is holstered. Once it switches back, you will have a full clip ready to go. This, guys, is freaking awesome. Never having to reload? I mean, that is an insane perk. And how many times have you died because of reloading? Well, not anymore, my friends. This will be my first choice come Tuesday. And last but not least, my close number 2 is called Predator's Mark. Your first bonus is an amazing 20% optimal range bonus. By the way, that is huge for SMGs. Your third set bonus is 800 damage for assault rifles and an extra 700 damage for pistols. Finally, Predator's Mark talent. Hit 10 shots without switching targets to make your target bleed for 100% of the damage already done by those bullets. Guys, how insane is that? So this means that you have to land 10 consecutive shots on that same enemy. When you land those, add up all of the damage those 10 bullets did, and then that total damage will slowly bleed out of them. Usually the bleed effect is only in like the 4,000 to 5,000 range. This bleed effect will drain hundreds of thousands of damage out over time. Unless you cancel the bleed effect, you cannot escape it. This is a pretty awesome talent and great for rogues that run away or enemies that love to run between cover. That optimal 20% range though, guys, with a few mods you can drastically improve the SMG's long range capabilities. I cannot wait. Alright agents, hang in there, we are almost done, but next up, let's talk about the Incursion Clear Sky. Like I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, it will not be a required gear score of 220, but rather the same recommended scores that are required for Falcon Lost. The plus side is that it's bigger, way bigger. There are multiple stages throughout the Incursion, and this time, there are freaking checkpoints. And that is a godsend right there, guys. I mean, now just like Falcon Lost, after every area or wave, the enemies will get harder and harder. The plus side is that there is so much open space. I mean, take a look on screen. Look at all these places that there are to hide or to run away to. In Falcon Lost, there was nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. Here, you can take your time and snipe everything if it need be. However, they did encourage the use of a tank here. They said that having someone pull aggro would make it a lot easier. They didn't go into a lot of other detail, but I'm sure it has to do with the later stage that is deeper in the Incursion. The only bad part is this right here. You see it? Yep, our good old friend Mr. C4 makes another lame comeback. Same animation, same placement, same purpose. They could have done way better than this, guys. Let's just pray that we don't have 3 areas of C4 that we have to blow ourselves a new tunnel to advance deeper into each stage. That will be extremely lame. I wasn't a fan of the C4 in Falcon Lost, and to see it pop up again, that kind of irks me. Either way, the bright side is that better things are indeed on the way. Now, I've covered a lot of different improvements over the weeks, and this new Dark Zone bracket looks to be awesome. Better loot, higher level mods. Take a look at the scope that they found right here. You see that headshot damage? That is insane. That is a level 32 mod. Not only that, but they promised more weapon drops throughout the Dark Zone, and the farther north you go, the higher the drops can be. Also, there are these new sealed caches that I'm super excited to check out. With all these blueprints and awesome weapons coming out of the DZ, people are spending their DZ funds like crazy, and these caches are another way to boost income. On top of that, depending on which DZ area you found it in, also from which boss it was dropped, will determine the quality of your items. As you can see, the green ones will drop gear set items along with a sizable chunk of funds, both DZ and Phoenix credits. Now they promise that the new bracket will be higher gear score drops only, because the only way for higher level players to keep climbing the ladder is of course with higher items. Besides the incursion, that was impossible to do pre 1.2. But don't worry, other Dark Zone brackets will see a sizable increase according to the bracket level. You can and will see everything from 204 weapons to 240 gear set items dropping in the hardest part of the DZ. It's just that the new 201 plus bracket, those drops will be a regular occurrence. And the last thing on the list, they went over hijacking in all of its glory, but I covered that pretty well in the State of the Game update early this morning, so check that out if you haven't seen it. In short, you will become rogue as you interact with the line. Upon interaction, you'll receive a 19-second rogue timer, and then if you are successful and actually cut the line, it bumps it up to a full 90 seconds. Now take a peek at what it looks like when you actually cut a line full of loot. See that right there? That is crazy, right? It's like freaking Christmas. However, it is kind of pointless. You can't pick up all that loot. There's just no way. And you don't even know which one is yours, and no one really benefits from this. It's just there to serve as more chaos. If you pick up the wrong item and then see like a perfect AUG sitting there, no one's going to have the time to delete items and then go looking for it again to pick it back up. It's not like you can select which ones you want to pick up off the ground. I mean, I get it, guys. It makes it more chaotic, but again, a useless feature, at least in my opinion. Now, there are other things I could go over, but the interest of time, check out my State of the Game update, which I posted earlier today. That has some of the smaller stuff in it, like the level 34 shotgun and sniper nerf, stashes being located to the DZ checkpoints, and a few other things. But that's it, guys. That is the big news of the day. Agents 1.2 is only days away, so get ready. Now, before I go, don't forget, guys, that my giveaway is coming up this Saturday. If you haven't watched it or entered yet, do it now. I will choose a winner this Saturday. $60, enough for a brand new game, and some Turtle Beaches could be yours. But that's it, Nation. As always, you guys effing rock, and I couldn't do it without you. Follow @SlideNation for up-to-date news on everything The Division, Destiny, and new uploads from my channel, Slide Nation. Can't wait until Tuesday, and keep your eye on my channel for new videos, which will spring up all over the place next week. But until then, this is your boy Sly. Done, gone, out.
Ammo inbound. Zone B secure.